What is up everybody, AJ here, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through Microsoft PowerToys. For those of you that don't know, Microsoft PowerToys is a free utility for Windows 10 that gives you more features and functionality, especially for power users on how you use your computer. PowerToys was originally around in Windows 95 and Windows XP days, and it's been on a very big hiatus until then, and Microsoft has recently decided to bring it back in Windows 10. I'd never heard of or used PowerToys back in the Windows 95 and Windows XP days. I'd probably only use a computer for MSN and drawing something in Paint, but I have been using it for a couple of weeks now on Windows 10, and it really has enhanced the way I'm using the computer. So what I'll do is I'll drop a link in the description down below if you want to download and try PowerToys out for yourself. I do just want to add the caveat that it is still technically in preview, so you may run into some compatibility issues until the full version comes out, but over the past few weeks, I've been running it and I haven't run into a single issue with it. So the flow of today's video is going to be, instead of me going through all the features chronologically, I want to show you the couple of features that really stand out to me, and then we'll go back and we'll look at everything else. Cool. With that being said, let's jump into it. Alright, now let's get into PowerToys. Hit the Start menu, start typing in PowerToys, and what you'll see here is the PowerToys preview app. Even if I try and open the app from here, nothing's actually going to pop up because the app always runs in the background. What you need to do is scroll down to the bottom of your taskbar, open up the show your hidden icons, and then there's an old retro looking TV icon here, and that is your PowerToys. Let's double click on that and open up the app. So what I want to take you through very quickly is the layout of the PowerToys app. It's really simple. It's essentially broken up in 3 separate columns here. On the left hand side you have the little hamburger menu and all the different features within PowerToys. In the center of the page here you have information and settings of that feature, and on the right hand side, which I think is a really nice touch, is you have this About section. So depending on which page you're on, the About section gives you a little blurb on that feature. It gives you, let me jump over to File Explorer for example, it tells you a little bit about the File Explorer extension here. If you want more information on using that extension, you can select on this module overview, and this is going to launch a website that gives you even more details about that feature. And let me minimize this one more time. And if you want to give direct feedback to the developers about that feature, you've got a nice handy button here to give direct feedback. Jumping back to the General tab, I just want to give you guys a few quick tips from me. The first one is the option of always run as administrator. I recommend always running PowerToys as the admin so you have full functionality of the app. And down the bottom here you have the option of running startup. I'd recommend having that turned on because if you're going to make some changes here in PowerToys, you got to make sure you can access those changes whenever, and you don't want to have to manually open up the app every time you turn on the PC. In my opinion, I've been running PowerToys at startup and I haven't noticed any performance degradation or issues with it, so I don't see any downside to having it running up at startup. And then of course in the middle here you can choose the appearance and behavior. This is basically picking the theme of the app. Do you want it running in dark theme? Do you want to have it running in light theme? The default of your windows, or do you want to pick a custom color yourself? Alright, so the first feature of PowerToys I want to show you is actually the keyboard manager. And the reason for this is I've got a couple of different computers with a few external keyboards. I find that some of the function keys like insert, delete, screen brightness, they're in different positions on different keyboards. What I've done here on this keyboard is I've actually remapped the insert key, so whenever I press insert on the keyboard, the computer registers as I'm hitting the delete option instead. So to do that it's quite simple. You open up remap a key, let's go new key, and basically if we wanted to change the number pad 0 or any key that you want to remap, we'll select the physical number pad 0 and we choose what option we want it to be. So I could convert that number pad 0 and turn that number pad 0 into an A button, just to give you an example. So I'm going to select number pad 0. Every time I press it, the computer is going to register A. Now if I open up anywhere I can type, I start typing in my 0 key, but it's actually pressing the A button. The next feature I want to show you is this thing called Fancy Zones. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Windows Snap, where you can basically snap 2 apps side by side by dragging and dropping them to the left or the right hand side of your computer screen. Fancy Zone is essentially Snap, but on steroids. So I'm going to enable Fancy Zone here, and I'm going to show you what the Launch Editor can do. So let's hit Launch Editor. Basically, this allows you to completely customize the layout of your snap. Right now, they give you a template for 3, which is the default, but let's crank that up to 5. And you can see here, there's a few different ways that your snap is now going to work. You can have your programs in different columns, in different rows, in grids. You can have a priority grid where you have the key program in front of you and you can put 4 around it. Or you could even go to the custom section. I've already got a custom layout here, but I'm going to delete that. I'm going to create a new custom layout. Basically what that's going to allow me to do is I'm going to select on create custom layout. I'm going to go edit selected layouts and basically go add a new zone. And now we can actually choose where our snaps are going to be. So let's say I want to have one zone on the left hand side of the screen here, and then I'm going to add a new zone in the top right. I'm going to bring that across so it's just touching. So we have zone 2. Let's grab a zone 3 and maybe add even a zone number 4. So now when we use our snap feature, instead of just going 50-50 side by side, we're going to have zone 1, 2, 3 and 4 to put our programs in. So let's call this custom layout 1 or whatever you want to call it, and we'll go save and apply. Before I show you how that works, I just want to quickly touch on the settings here. I won't go through all of them, but the one that I do recommend turning on is override Windows Snap. So basically Windows key and arrow to the left or the right, so that it uses the fancy zone instead of just your standard Windows Snap. And now I'm going to show you how it works. I'm going to grab our top program here and we'll push it to the left hand side, so fancy zone number 1. We'll grab our second program and you can see, does it want us to go in number 1, number 2, number 3? We'll put our YouTube Studio over here in number 3. Let's grab another program, maybe we open up Word, put Word in number 3, and let's just grab our calculator, select that, and pull that into zone number 4. This is actually a great time to remind you, if you're liking this video, hit that button down there, and if you want to see more of my content, definitely hit that subscribe button as well. So that is essentially fancy zones. It lets you create custom zones instead of just your standard snapping left and right, 2 screens or 4 screens. And if you go into the zone editor, you can make a zone of up to, this takes a while, but you can put in a maximum of 40 custom zones. So if you have 2, 3, 4 monitors, or you have a need for a couple of different programs running all the time, maybe 40 programs at once is a bit too much, but you can create custom zones or even use some of the preset templates to maximize the way you use your monitor screens. And I think fancy zones is giving people even more power to when they're using their computer. So fancy zone, really big feature. Image resizer is another example of how PowerToys is going to speed up the way you use your computer. So basically what you see here are a few preset image sizes. You've got small, medium, large, phone. You can also add custom sizes. You can give it a name, so we'll call this desktop possibly, and you can select the pixels that you want it to be resized to. I'm not going to change any of the encoding or the files. I'm simply going to use the image resizing. Let's jump over now to my download section. So I've got a few files that I'm going to show you exactly how this image resizer works. You can see here that we have 3 photos, all about my YouTube analytics here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select these 3 photos, right click and scroll down, and you see we have the little PowerToy symbol and then the option of resize pictures. I'm going to select resize, and now I can simply resize them to small, medium, large, desktop, or I can create a custom size for them. I'm going to resize these guys to small, and then I'm going to simply select on resize. A couple seconds later, what you'll see is that these images have been resized. Their naming convention has been kept the same, but they've got small in the bracket next to its name, so we know these have been resized to small. The size of those files have essentially halved, and we've picked the aspect ratio that we want to turn the files into. So again, you just right click on it, scroll down to picture size, and then you choose in what sort of frame you want it to fit in, whether it's the small, medium, large, or a custom fit, and then you simply hit resize. If you work with a lot of photos and images, I think being able to quickly select a bunch of them, right click and resize to whatever size you want it to be is really going to speed up the way you're using your computer. The next thing I want to show you is called PowerToys Run. If you've ever used an OS X device, you know the spotlight search is pressing the Apple key and the spacebar, and you get this little bar in the center of your screen which allows you to search your files and your programs. PowerToys Run essentially brings that feature to the Windows PC by pressing the Alt and spacebar key. And what you get is a little finder or search window that you can start typing into. If I type in the word, say for example, power, it's going to show me everything that has the word power. It's going to give me a few search results with the word power. If we look at the settings here, we can change the maximum number of search results. In my opinion, it's a great feature, so it looks really nice, but the Windows search by just using your taskbar down the bottom, I actually find gives you a much better, much more comprehensive search result. So this is nice because it looks cool, but honestly, I'd just rather use the Windows key if I was searching for something. Color Picker is also a really nice, simple addition to PowerToys because it's a really easy way to get a system-wide color picker. Basically, you're pressing Windows key, Shift and C, and you're going to see wherever the mouse is hovering, you're going to get the color code for the color that you're hovering above. I think it's really simple, really easy, and just a great addition to PowerToys. The last feature I want to take you through is really simple, but also super effective. It's the shortcut guide. Basically, all you do is you hold the Windows key for 900 milliseconds, or a second really, and it's going to show you all the different shortcut keys for Windows key plus any of the keys on your keyboard. So for example, Windows key plus E is going to open up a file explorer, Windows key plus S is going to open up a search result, Windows key plus any of the numbers is going to launch any of those programs you have in your taskbar. And I think it's just a really good reminder to see all the shortcuts that you can do on your Windows PC just by simply holding the Windows key for a second. The last two features I'm going to show you very quickly because I haven't used them all that much, but I do see their value for particular workloads. In the File Explorer, basically this just means in your preview pane, you can now preview SVG and .md files. I don't really work with SGV or MD files, but if you do, having PowerToys installed will allow you to get a preview of those files before you open them up. And Power Rename essentially gives you the ability to bulk rename files. Again, doesn't really do too much for me day to day, but I understand this is a feature that a lot of people, especially I'm thinking graphic designers or people working with multiple versions of say photos and videos or files, this would be a feature that would definitely speed up the way they use their computer. And there you have it. That is my introduction to PowerToys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and let me know if you plan on using PowerToys in the future. I'm really happy that Microsoft is bringing it back because it's giving me different ways to work with my PC, but I want to understand if you want to use it as well. If you do, let me know in the comment section down below which was your favorite feature and why. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, and also, don't forget to subscribe. Bye.